Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Seriah. I typically make videos about me documenting my journey on the path to medical school. I'm not gonna lie, it doesn't feel good saying that because my path is not really pathing, but okay. Yeah, my path isn't really pathing right now and things don't really feel great right now, and I always wanted, originally when I started this channel, to be super positive about my journey, to talk about all of the wonderful things that was happening, including me becoming a medical assistant, taking post-bac classes, taking the MCAT, having a successful gap year. But unfortunately, that is just not the reality, and I've came to an acceptance and realizing that it's equally as important to talk about the not so good times, just to provide encouragement to other people who may be going through the same thing as me, and also to just look back on in the future and be like, dang, you made it through, girl. That's what I want to be talking about today, is I may potentially be quitting my job. If you're interested in hearing more about my medical assistant experience and just like my gap year overall, then go ahead and keep watching. For those of you who this may be like your first time on my channel and you don't have a background, or if you have watched my channel and don't really remember the ins and outs and everything, last year I graduated May 2021 with a bachelor's of science in biology. And that may sound like an amazing accomplishment to a lot of people, and it really is an accomplishment, but if I'm being completely honest, I did not have the best undergrad experience for a multitude of reasons. My grades were not great at all, like at all. And I'm not trying to be like one of those people who actually did get good grades, but they're like perfectionists and they got like a 3.5 for the first time and it crushed their, like, no, I actually had really bad grades that I'm too embarrassed to even talk about right now at this point. And beyond just the grades part, I just didn't have the best undergrad experience. I like had a lot of friendship challenges. I struggled a lot with my mental health for the first time. Like, I didn't really have a good adjustment and I never really overcame it that much. Plus the pandemic and all of it, like, if I'm just being blunt and candid, those 4 years were probably some of the worst years of my life. It sucked because I had such a good high school experience and I really thrived in high school. And then to go from that with like a lot of confidence in myself and a lot of hope for the future to my poor experience in undergrad, it really just shook me up mentally. And so when I graduated, college was bittersweet. Like, I was happy that I got my degree. I was happy that it was over. And yeah, that's the two reasons why I was happy. And the third reason is I did get my biology degree, which I always wanted. But on the sour note, I didn't graduate with the stats I wanted, especially trying to go to med school. I knew my stats were going to be impossible to get in with that kind of GPA. I never really got the study techniques out of the college experience that I wanted because I just never really fully adjusted to it, to be honest. And then on top of it, it just was just, like I said, a rough experience socially for me. Like, I didn't graduate with a ton of friends coming out of college. I went through a really rough friendship breakup before I graduated. A really bad, kind of breakup with a boy at the time. And it was just horrible. It was bittersweet. Like, yes, I got my degree. Yes, I finished. A lot of people don't finish, which is great. But deep down inside, I wanted a better experience overall. So with that being said, I took a gap year because I had to. I wanted the gap year to be a time for me to reinvent myself. So this past year was supposed to be my reinventing gap year, where I was gonna bring up my stats a bit, take the rest of my post-bac classes that I didn't complete in undergrad, I was going to take the MCAT, find a big girl, my first big girl job. And the goal of the end of the gap year would be for me to enter into a formal post-bac that I know I need in order to show medical schools that I'm capable of the coursework. And so that was my plan. So now we could talk about expectation versus reality. So now in terms of what actually happened during my gap year, I can honestly say I successfully landed my big girl job I hoped and I prayed for, and that is my first medical assistant position at a private practice dermatology office, where I worked with both a physician as well as a physician assistant. This was my dream job after college because it would give me the clinical experience that I was lacking for med school. It would allow me to work with both a physician and a physician assistant because I still wasn't completely sure if I wanted to go the MD or the PA route, and I figured working with both providers would give me that opportunity to know for sure if I wanted to go which direction. And then last but not least, I figured it was going to be a great learning experience to help me learn a lot more medical terminology, which I didn't get to do in undergrad. I didn't take a medical terminology course. So overall, I just felt like it was the perfect opportunity for me. So since I have been a medical assistant, I'm still currently a medical assistant, I can honestly say for the logistical reasons, it has been a great experience to talk about on my resume. I got to do all of those things. I got to work with both the MD and the PA. I've learned so much about it, and I feel a lot more confident working in healthcare. But I will say it was such a disappointment all at the same time working, because I thought it was going to be such a great experience. It was going to want to push me to medicine. It was going to want to make me continue on with the path. But I can honestly say a lot of times there were moments of me feeling like, is this for me? I made several videos on my channel, which I'll leave in the cards right here, where you can go check it out and see a lot of the experiences I documented of me being a medical assistant, a lot of poor experiences I've had since I've been working there. But if I can simplify it for the video, I would say a lot of it comes down to communication, disorganization, working at this practice. Things have improved since I've been there. A lot of the issues I had in the beginning were with the PA I worked with. He has since been let go, and things improved a lot. And I decided to continue to stay there once he left, just because I thought things were going to get better. And they did, but I understood deep down inside, my experience kind of just had already been ruined from that. To be more specific, like I said, if you haven't watched my videos, when I went into this experience, I wanted to grow a relationship with the providers I worked with. I wanted to, foster a relationship, be able to ask them questions about their job, to get encouragement on my journey to medicine. I wanted to foster that mentorship where I can come to them for advice and talk to them about my path. But I just felt like they didn't like me in that way. They didn't want to get to know me. They didn't really have that kind of interest. Instead, it became more of this is what I have to do versus this is what I want to do. Let me just go to work because this is what I have to do. I'm going there to make money and then go home. And instead of, this is a learning experience, this is an opportunity, this is what, that's not the vibe I was getting. So like I said, it literally became more of I'm just going to work to get my paycheck, to go home, and I'm just going to write some stuff on my resume about this job and basically finesse it. And honestly, when I was applying to the school, I really dreaded wanting to talk about my position here because I had such a bad experience. I didn't want to feel like I had to lie about how good of an experience it was when it truly wasn't. Up is school. So I wanted to take classes to finish out the rest of my prereqs. Expectation versus reality. Expectation was to do extremely well in my courses so that they could see an upward trend. Now the reality of that is I took the classes, I did well the first semester, which is good. Expectation was met. Second semester, I did okay in organic chemistry too. Not what I would have wanted, but I passed. And then physics, I failed physics. Did not expect to fail physics at all. And if we're being honest, should not have failed physics at all. So now I'm going through a grade appeal process. We're still waiting to see what comes of that, if I'm going to have to retake physics, if they're just going to boost my grade. Like, honestly, can't really speak on that. Currently going through that. So now, those were all of my expectations for my gap year. So, in the end, can I say I did everything I wanted with my gap year? Technically, yeah. I did everything I set out to do for myself, which is take classes, take the MCAT, and work. I did all of that. Now, did I come out on the other side like I anticipated? No. So, what does that leave me with? The answer was, I really don't know what to do next, because financially, I do not want to repeat any more classes. It doesn't make sense for me to keep taking the same classes over and over again. Financially, what would make more sense if I'm going to invest more money is to put that money towards a post-bac. But the unfortunate reality of getting into a post-bac is they require a certain GPA, which I don't have. So it's either they need the GPA or they need a better MCAT. So I came up with a couple of options, which would be to just keep working the same job that I have now, and then take the MCAT again and, pay for a prep course and just work and do the prep course and study for the MCAT. The other option was I found a post-bac that would be willing to take me on this upcoming school year, where I'd get a master's, like a special master's program. And what I would have to do is take the GRE first, go to the post-bac, and then after the post-bac take the MCAT. That was perfect, and I wanted to do that. But unfortunately, the class physics is getting in the way, because like I said, he failed me for this class, which is another story I will talk about another day. And I cannot get into this program with an F. So either way, that option is still on the table, but I just couldn't do it this year because I would have to retake physics or whatever comes of that. It puts my application process behind regardless. So that's honestly the one I'm leaning towards. And then the last option for me was, honestly, just work. Just work this year, stack up my money, and really take the time to heal myself. Just have a true gap year. Just work, get experience, do some therapy to get over some of the things that happened in undergrad and in my gap year. And those were the three options I came up with. And so I began to sit some more and to really think about it all in all. And I asked myself if I was happy, like genuinely, am I happy? And the answer was obviously no, because I applied like everything I set out for, it didn't come to pass. And so I was thinking, well, what can I do now to make me happy? Like, am I happy? So this is the reality of the situation. I didn't get into school I wanted. I can't go straight to school like I thought I had planned. So right now I have a job and I can work, and then but am I happy at my job? And I realized I'm not happy there. I haven't been happy for a year, and I don't think that's going to change. And I was hesitant to leave my job for one reason alone, because although things got better and improved now that the PA left, there were still many issues that I was just not getting over. At this rate, I'm at a lost cause in terms of developing, a relationship with the doctor, because I tried that and it just wasn't working. But I started to foster a relationship with my coworkers, and so I was like, well, maybe I shouldn't leave because we've become such a good team. But then I thought about it some more, and I was like, I think change is good, and sometimes you need change in your life to reevaluate your plan. And I think the best thing for me right now to do is to get a new job, a new experience, to develop more experience so I can develop more skills, and while I get a new job, then I could figure out what I want to do in terms of school and wait for this, appeal process to plan out, because literally everything is out of my control at this point. Like, the appeal process, out of my control. I don't know what's going to come of that. The school I applied for this year, I didn't get in, out of my control. And yeah, it just didn't happen this year. And so all I can do is what I can do, and that's work until something else happens. And I figured I'd rather work somewhere where I can feel happy and healthy versus continue to work in a toxic environment. And so I have come to the conclusion that I am going to start the application process for different jobs. I still want to be a medical assistant, and because I think it's good clinical experience, but I wouldn't mind also finding a research position somewhere, or like some kind of, research clinical coordinator role to switch it up. Like, I wouldn't mind doing that either, but I think it's time to really move on to a job where I feel a lot more healthy and whole there, that gives me a lot more flexibility to take classes and do other things, and to really figure out my life and just be in control of the unforeseen second gap year that I have to have. But yeah, I'm not happy with where I'm at in life right now, but I think it's super important to just be honest about it, accept it, and come up with, a new path. And so I think this is the best option for me. So yeah, I think those are all the reasons kind of why I want to quit my job. All in all, is because I just feel like I've reached that point where I've gotten everything I can get out of that experience, and I'm just ready to step into the next phase of my life and the next part of this journey trying to get into medical school. So I hope this video makes sense, and if you're going through your gap year and things didn't go the way you wanted it to go, just take a step back and reflect on each piece of the gap year that may not have reached your expectation, and then see what you can do to make that change. It could be, like I said, changing your job. It could be just adjusting the hours of what you work. It could be, taking a break from school. It could be a lot of things. So that's just my encouragement for you today. And I just wanted to give you an update on what I've decided. I think I'm going to leave my job. Don't know when or how, but I think that's what's going to happen. And I'm just going to go ahead and keep you all updated. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you soon in my next video, which is gonna be a week in my life as a medical assistant looking for a new job. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you in my next one.